Tomorrow, sunny and a high around 86. For Wednesday, mostly sunshine in the morning, but otherwise a likelihood of thunderstorms and a high of 85. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi folks, it's Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Did you know that we have a master jeweler right here in the store? That's right, she has over 20 years experience in the art of repairing jewelry. Most repairs are done within a week, so don't send your jewelry off for 6 weeks. Bring it to us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We size rings and solder chains. We can reset your diamond into a new setting and even custom design. You'll get your jewelry back quickly and looking as good as new. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, Bay County's trusted jeweler for over 50 years.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
If you think dangerous blood clots can't happen to you, think again. Up to 900,000 men, women, and children are affected by blood clots each year, and about 100,000 die from them. Blood clots don't discriminate. You or a loved one could be at risk right now. The good news is blood clots can be prevented. Knowing the risks and symptoms are key. Major risks for blood clots include a family or personal history of blood clots, a recent hospitalization or surgery, pregnancy and cancer and its treatments. Symptoms of a blood clot in the legs or arms can include pain, swelling, and skin that is warm to the touch, red or discolored. Symptoms of blood clots in the lungs include difficulty breathing, chest pain that worsens with a deep breath, or a cough, coughing up blood, and a faster than normal or irregular heartbeat. Speak with a doctor about your risk for blood clots and seek medical attention if you have any symptoms. On average, one person in the United States dies of a blood clot every 6 minutes. Don't let that be you or someone you know. Stop the clot. Spread the word. Learn more at stoptheclot.org/spread the word.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
We're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Get ready.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onions pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
What is going on, Panama City? You are now in the doghouse built by CBC Construction. You can go to their website, cbcconstruction.com, or give them a holler at 850-747-3815. I'm David Hayes, along with Coach Brian Haddad and James Fife. James Fife is representing the San Diego Padres today here on ESPN Northwest Florida. James, how was your weekend, brother?
Had a pretty good weekend, nice and busy, but that's kind of the way you need it sometimes.
Yeah, there you go, man. I felt like I was hustling and bustling the whole weekend as well. Really not getting a whole lot done personally, but hustling and bustling nonetheless. Coach Brian Haddad, how are you on this Monday afternoon?
I am doing well.
There you go. We got a great show lined up for you this afternoon. Of course, we've got to go up there to Nashville and talk with RJ Starcevic about what went down in the world of NASCAR and what to look forward to next Sunday in the Cup Series race. I believe they're taking the week off for Xfinity because they're going to be racing in Mexico City. Actually, you excited about a little road course racing in Mexico City?
Do they run the track that they used to do the Formula One things on, where they actually go through the baseball stadium thing? So the old Mexican Formula One track, you actually kind of go through part of the baseball stadium. It's actually a really neat setup that they had there. If they're running that track, then yeah, that was a fun one.
The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
That's easy for you to say.
It's also the track where F1 races are held, but the NASCAR race will use a truncated version of the track, incorporating a stadium section.
Okay, so that part was pretty cool as they go through the
part that they're going to eliminate is going to be cool.
But anyway, so no, I mean, sure.
That's where the pits are.
I am always curious to see how, a different country's fan base takes to a different sport. So, with NASCAR, who knows? I mean, it could be really cool. I mean, they don't get to see it, but at most once a year. So, maybe they'll be really, that's the way we always talk about in wrestling. The crowds go nuts. It's always fun when you can, you've got a good thing going on in NASCAR when you can hear the crowd over the cars. And, AKA Kenseth punting Logano.
Yeah, there you go.
Or Dale Jr. going to the front.
Speaking of, I don't know if you've caught any of the NASCAR broadcasts the last 2 weeks, but they are on Prime, and Dale Jr. is one of the broadcasters on there. I just love his insight to the sport.
I was going to say, I could see him being really good at that because he's a lot more insightful than people think. They think he's, kind of the dumb country bumpkin dropout, which he kind of was, but he's very insightful in his thoughts on things, and he's got kind of... he's got a perfect analyst kind of voice pattern, like he wouldn't be good for play-by-play, but for analyst, he's perfect. So I haven't heard it directly, but it doesn't surprise me, having listened to a lot of stuff that he does, that he would be good at that.
Yes, sir. I find it to be interesting. I thought the Prime coverage, the Prime broadcast of it has actually been possibly better than Fox's.
Really?
I mean, that's my opinion.
Fox is pretty good.
Right, exactly. So I would hold that opinion loosely, and we'll find out from RJ Starcevic as we go around the track with him coming up in the very next segment. And then we're going to have Steve Barnes joining us at the top of hour number 2. He's going to dive into the college baseball regionals, as right now North Carolina on top of Oklahoma 8-2. We've got quite a few more games going on this evening to officially set the Super Regionals. It has been a wild tournament to this point. Our call-in, text-in question of the day: what's the most bizarre job that you've ever had? Hit us up on the Red 7 T's phone line, 850-215-6290. The Red 7 T's phone line. They are the brand that brands you. What's the most bizarre job you've ever had? Text that in to 850-215-6290. We'll dive into that, I'm assuming, at 4:40. Is where I think we'll dive into. We've got a few good texts. I've got an answer. I think it's just bizarre for a white person more so than it is anything else. That's my tease, I guess, to get you guys to hang on until 4:40 this afternoon. Then at 5:40, we'll dive into our best and worst of the weekend. You can text both of those answers to 850-215-6290. No Atlanta Braves this evening as they took a series loss to the Red Sox and have lost A.J. Smith-Shawver. Looks to be for the rest of the year after tearing his UCL. And then the Braves will get back into action tomorrow night hosting the Arizona Diamondbacks. First pitch at 6:15, coverage starting at 6 o'clock right here on your home for the Atlanta Braves. Sponsored locally by Bill Bird Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto, and Hometown Towing. All right, you want to dive into the college baseball tournament? I didn't get to watch a whole lot from it, but I do know that squeeze play is essentially the red zone of college baseball. That's a great way to watch it. They'll get up to 4 screens at a time and get you, keep you up to date on all of the latest and greatest action. Now you can get that one of two ways, which is either by being a subscriber to ESPN Plus or by watching it on ESPNU.
So we were over at the Hyatt Regency in New Orleans for a card show at PCB Hobby, and actually I was down there eating what I could. Didn't have a great weekend for that. Then we'll save that story for another time. But
is that going to be the worst of the weekend?
Well, yeah, certainly. Being in New Orleans, not being able to enjoy the food. But the little sports bar there in the Hyatt Regency had that going on with the quad, and it was pretty cool, actually. They would dump in and out of them. They would change audio and everything. It was actually kind of a neat way to watch. It wasn't full on red zone, but it was a good way to kind of keep up with what was going on over multiple games. So, I mean, if State had been playing at the time, I would have preferred a solo shot, but not being super invested in any of the team. It was a good way to keep up with what was going on across a bunch of different games.
Yeah, since we're talking college baseball, we'll dive into Wright State. Chris, best and worst of the weekend. His best was Wright State knocking off Vanderbilt, and worst of the weekend, Mississippi State's coaching search affecting the players. What do you think he means by that, and affecting the players with a coaching search?
I don't know what he necessarily means specifically, other than, the players. I haven't followed it. I know who they've been going after. I haven't followed more the inter-team dynamic of, what happens a lot of times. You'll have a guy who's promoted from within as an interim,
right? And
he's close to all the players, and word starts leaking that he's not even in play and that they're going to go outside, and so there's some uncertainty. And, for the players, that's your guy, so will he be here next year? Will he not? And right as you're trying to play a regional is tough. So I'm assuming something along those lines. But I don't know exactly. I cannot imagine. It wouldn't have anything to do with O'Connor because they weren't playing. So I would imagine probably something to do with the players and their coach that, has led them to the regional when they weren't sure to make it. And probably they feel like their guy never got a shot and may not be able to come back. And while they're trying to play games, it probably means something along those lines.
All right, so the interim coach, here's a quote from them that Wright State Chris just posted. He said, "I got kids upset on the bus on Wednesday and Thursday. I got all kinds of expletive flying around. It's just, I credit these guys for just staying focused and locked in. They love each other. They love playing for each other. I wish a lot of the rumors weren't flying around. I wish there was a little bit more patience with the process."
Well, he's
welcome
not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, it really did heat up right as they were heading into the regional.
Right.
And, we had heard O'Connor for a while. The guy at Wake, we had heard a lot, but with them being in a regional, it was kind of like, probably won't hear much about that. So I thought it would wait a little bit longer because I thought there were a few more guys in. But O'Connor was, from all indications, clearly their number one. And I think what happened was because he was free, I think they started moving ahead with some things, and obviously that's going to get out. So, you could second guess it and say it was terrible timing, but in reality, it might have been the only way to lock down O'Connor.
Especially with the transfer portal just about to open up, right?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, it's just, it's an unfortunate byproduct of the way the system is now, and yeah, it does suck for the kids, but because they're trying to play a game, but it is what it is.
And rumors are going to ruminate. Like that is what's going to happen. And you hate it because you'd like to be able to keep everything close to the vest and within the clubhouse and all of that stuff, but it's not necessarily the front office or the administrators in this case that are making the rumors happen as much as it is anyone who can get their hands on anything, putting it out into the
there's people who will go to airports and watch for tail fin numbers coming in, and I mean, it's crazy, especially in football.
Yeah. And these days, you don't even have to, go to the airport and watch for the tail fins because they'll have the website that you could just go look at what planes are coming and going. But in the college baseball regionals right now, you've got Louisville, who's already moved on. They are looking to take on the winner of the Hattiesburg regional, which is going to be Southern Miss and Miami. That's the final game of the afternoon tonight.
Correct.
Then you've got FSU, who will move on to take on the winner of the Corvallis region, which will be USC or Oregon State. Then the winner of the game that is currently on right now, North Carolina leading Oklahoma 8-2 in the bottom of the sixth. They will move on to take on Arizona.
Look, I hate to be this guy in stereotype, but this pitcher North Carolina just brought in looks like the kid I would pay to take my calculus test. He does not look like a baseball player at all, but he's got kind of a nasty little slider there. So,
yes.
I mean, look at that. He looks 12. Got big old glasses.
He almost looks like Hardy and Morgan Wallen mixed a little bit. The glasses brings the Hardy point of it, and then the little mullet back there.
Don't judge a book, I guess.
There you go. Coastal Carolina has moved on. They're going to be taking on Auburn.
Oh, and the Mulvey Bowl.
Yeah, exactly what that is. I know he's excited about that particular super regional. Then you're going to have UTSA taking on UCLA, which is UCLA. That should be a heck of a super regional right there. I'm definitely
the They the Roadrunners?
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for the Roadrunners. Then tonight you're going to have Murray State and Ole Miss duking it out for the opportunity to play Duke in that Super Regional. Then you move on to Baton Rouge, where LSU has not moved out to the Super Regional yet. They've got to beat Little Rock of Arkansas tonight.
I think they were the strongest favorite on the betting lines to win their regional, too. Wow.
And they're going to be...
It was not a strong regional.
It really wasn't. I mean, some of these that, you're seeing the number one seed fall in them. It's the beauty of baseball. It really is. They're going to be taking on, which I would have loved to see Dallas Baptist make it out of that, but I believe West Virginia beat them. So LSU, or no, it couldn't have been.
West Virginia took out Kentucky. Yeah. That was the regional that had so many runs.
13-12 in that final game right there. And then Kentucky beating Clemson early on in the Sunday afternoon. So LSU Little Rock will play tonight. Winner of that plays West Virginia. And then in the Knoxville regional, you'll have Wake Forest and Tennessee. They'll be taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks. After all that we've seen, I mean, what's the bigger deal? Is it Vanderbilt going down as the top number one overall seed, or is it the fact that both college and softball tournaments, the number one overall seed goes down? Or is Texas baseball a bigger deal by, newly hired head coach Schlossnagle, who had a great run last year with Texas A&M and dipped out on Texas A&M for Texas? Which one's a bigger deal, Vandy? Both number ones or Texas?
Well, I will say this. In College Station, they were thoroughly enjoying watching Texas go out in the regional after the year that they've had and, softball and everything else. So I don't know if it's just Vandy going out. I think the fact that the 1 and the 2 seed both got bounced is really surprising to me. In fact, we were talking about before the show, the hosts in general have had a hell of a time this year. You had a lot of hosts go down. You have a lot that are fighting for their life tonight. And, a lot of them had trouble with the 4 seeds. It's not like it was the second round when they played a 2 or played a 3. So a lot of them had trouble with 4s. And everybody, Vandy finally went down to Wright State, but they should have gone down to him in the first game. The kid had a no-no through 6, like 72 pitches. They pulled him. Vandy comes back and wins late. So, they could have lost the first one. I was a little bit surprised because I did not think baseball had quite yet reached the point at which the 4s are competitive with the 1s. The 3s are. But I think we might be getting to more full parity in baseball. We definitely have more top players playing college ball now, and that does have a ripple effect. So it's probably a good thing overall for the game that we have a lot better baseball going on. I did not think it was there yet. So, which is worse? I don't know. I think the SEC's not terribly happy right now.
Oh, man.
Now, if the SEC, look, Oklahoma's probably going down here, but if the SEC can sweep with Ole Miss, LSU, and Tennessee, they'll get 5 through. That'll salvage it a little bit. But, probably the worst part of all that is it depends on your perspective. For us, it's probably the SEC not showing up.
That's a great take right there. Looks like 5 of the number 1 seeds across the regionals have moved on to this point. Only 5 out of 16 which is insane.
I got to look at it. It's going to take a little bit, but obviously Vandy and Texas, the 1 and the 2 seed go down. Georgia was the 7. They went down.
Yep.
Clemson was the 11. They went down.
Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon was the 12. And then, but you have, Southern Miss has got to get through. You have,
there's a chance that even more.
Tennessee, it's rough. It's rough. So, that was surprising to me. I did not think. I thought you'd have a few of the. You always have a few of the kind of 7 to 14s go down, but 1 and 2, that was something.
That was something. When it comes to the games tonight, obviously, North Carolina looks to be in pretty good shape right now. But on the baseball side of things, I'm trying to see if I could just find a list.
Generally speaking, the fact that you make it to Monday, you would favor the one seeds. Number
Right.
one, because they're the one seed and they're at home, but also they tend to be deeper. And the pitching, it really starts wearing out because everybody now has lost a game. So everybody's played an extra game than they could have. LSU, I would think, is strong to go through. I think Ole Miss is probably strong to go through. Southern Miss and Miami is going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah, it is.
I actually like Oregon State. I know they didn't start out very well, but I like them in this one. Tennessee-Wake Forest could be a great game. I mean, Tennessee kind of gave it to them. And those are two teams with a lot of pedigree that neither are as strong as they have been in the past. But so that one is pretty up in the air. Southern and Miami is a little up in the air. I feel pretty good about Ole Miss, Oregon State, and LSU.
There you go, James.
That being said, I felt good about Florida softball,
Right.
and we saw what happened there.
Oh, man. By the way, speaking of softball, you had Texas, I believe, is already taking down Tennessee, and they will take on the winner of Oklahoma and Texas Tech. So I'll get a score update on that game, Oklahoma and Texas Tech. If Texas Tech wins, I believe they would make it straight into the Women's College World Series. It'll be Texas versus Texas Tech. If Oklahoma would have to win twice tonight to take care of business.
Yeah,
so.
Texas wins 2-0 over Tennessee, and we get Oklahoma, Texas Tech right as we go off the air.
There you go. And then they'll have to play twice tonight if Oklahoma wins that first one. But, you know, if we're looking at this from a lens of the perspective of 2024, 3 of these 4 teams, Coach Haddad, are in the Big 12. But instead, it's 3 of the 4 teams are in the SEC. James, do you have any thoughts from college baseball this weekend?
Had fun watching a lot of it. I thought I saw a little bit too much ump ball.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd. You know, we're getting the best college baseball players. Can we also find the best college baseball umpires, please?
And let's not throw kids out for celebrations that just don't seem like they're crossing any lines.
That, and I mean, the Oregon player getting kicked out on the run block, or running over the catcher when the catcher was the one that was over the line. I mean, I thought the rule nowadays was the catcher could not straddle the plate until he has the ball. Catcher didn't have the ball. Player has the right to be in the running lane at that point, in my opinion. So I really didn't understand that one.
Yeah,
that one was not great. The end of the now going on to softball. The end of the Tennessee game, UCLA game. That was not the end of it, but bottom of the top of the 7th when UCLA tied it with a 2-run shot, absolutely monster shot into center field by the first baseman for UCLA. She touches, you know, she's going around the bases, touches first, touches second, touches third, gets to home plate to celebrate with the team, but does not touch home plate until one of her own players grabs her and says, go back and touch the plate. At that point, to me, when you go into celebration mode and you're jumping up and down and you're getting hugs, in my opinion, you have given yourself up. You're out.
Yeah.
But they go back and review and say, no, we can't review this. You can't review if somebody touched a base?
Yeah.
To me, that's what replay's for.
Right.
I can't remember which game it was because we didn't have the sound going in the sports bar where we were, but there was a baseball game. And a guy cold missed first base so bad, and they kept replaying it. And I was thinking, in my life, I don't think I ever missed first base. I don't even understand how it was, and it was a horrendous miss.
Yeah, first base is not a base you can miss.
He looked like a baby deer missing it. I mean, it just, nothing looked right. It was just, and he didn't go back. It was, and they got him, but, it was terrible. But I just remember thinking, you run so much down the line or, going to second. I don't think I ever missed first base. I don't. It doesn't compute.
And maybe Wii Ball or something like that,
where you run into left field.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got the safety bags, so you got double the chances of hitting the base.
That's right. I don't get it.
So they were talking with, this is an interview with Vicky Van Cleek, the Secretary of Rules Editor, NCAA Softball Rules Committee, and Steve McCowan, who's the National Coordinator of Softball Umpires. The question, what made the play not reviewable? Because they did review it, but then they're like,
it came back as you can't review it.
Because of Appendix G. A runner being assisted on the base pass by a teammate is not on the list of reviewable plays in the NCAA Softball rule book. Appendix G of the NCAA Softball Rules Book does not allow for the challenge of Rule 12.1 17.3.4.1, which states that no offensive team personnel other than the base coaches and base runners shall touch a runner until the runner contacts home plate. What would have been the outcome what would the outcome have been if the play was reviewable? Because a home run is considered a dead ball per rule, some numbers. On an initial offense, a warning would have been issued to the offending team, and it would not have affected the score of the game.
But still no warning was issued by the umpire. They didn't follow through with even the rule book.
Yeah.
After they sat there and read the rule book for at least 10 minutes.
Oh, well, it was like
all the way around.
It was a 15-minute review, I believe, too.
Yeah, it was a long review. I mean, it totally took the emotion out of the game, in a game that was fairly exciting.
Yeah.
The fact that you just said point 7 times is the problem.
I agree. I was thinking that while I'm like, this is one of the biggest issues, right? Is there so many rules? But they have to keep on updating the rule book because new rules come, old rules go, all of that good stuff. It's like, well, let's just play the game. Just enjoy the daggum game. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up next, we're talking with RJ Starcevic about what? Mainly NASCAR, but the focus is going to be what happened with Joey Logano right here on the Afternoon Underdogs when we get back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Ryan Mathis has got Wherever I May Roam.
Metallica, yeah, but it sounds off of Metallica. I mean, like, I don't want to, here it comes.
I've been trying to. I've had too many guests all today to let him out of the cage.
Man, like, just too much. If you're a Metallica fan, and like, if you consider yourself a Metallica fan, I don't think you should name that album.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Monday afternoon. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 86 with a gentle breeze coming out of the south-southwest around 8 miles per hour. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 73. Tomorrow, sunny and a high around 86. For Wednesday, mostly sunshine in the morning, but otherwise a likelihood of thunderstorms and a high of 85. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you hungry for authentic Mexican cuisine? Then come to El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, where we serve up the freshest, most flavorful dishes on the beach. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, a great location, comfortable atmosphere, and happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're going to love their lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus live music Wednesdays and Saturdays starting at 5:30. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive across from the Navy base.
And 10908 Front Beach Road.
If you spend any time at all in your yard, you're going to encounter fire ants.
We know they can ruin a party. That's why we're this area's experts at fire ant elimination.
As your certified top choice professional, we will rid your yard of these unwanted invaders. Brock Pest is so sure they will get rid of fire ants that they offer a 1-year guarantee.
Enjoy your yard fire ant free. We guarantee it. Give us a call for your free consultation.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting yours since 1968.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. Get the edge on the competition with the latest lines, expert picks, and everything you need to place your bets. Elevate your game day experience with ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back in the CBC Construction Studios. You can call them at 850-747-3815 or visit their website, cbcconstruction.com, for all of your construction needs. We're going to get over to the Red 7T's phone line. Red 7T's, the brand that brands you, and chat with RJ Starcevic. Go around the track with him. RJ is the creator of the Instagram page, Motor Stardom. Go give that page a follow, and RJ as well. RJ, how are you doing today, brother?
Doing good, my friend. How about yourself?
Doing well, man. Got a little bit of rain not too long ago, but I can't really tell if the sun is peeking out or not. But it's Florida, just a little bit of rain to kind of wet the roses and get ready for tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been cloudy here all day. Sun hasn't peeked out, but honestly, I don't mind it because when that sun's out, it's absolutely scorching. So I'll take a little break from that.
What was the best and worst of the race over there at Nashville?
I'd say the best is always just the vibes. The vibes of Nashville is just absolutely unmatched. The stars were out. I think Morgan Wallen was out there last night, sitting on top of a trailer watching the race, as old school as you can get. So that was pretty cool to see. But the vibes are always unmatched. The paint schemes, a night race is always great. And I'd say the worst was certainly just not having as much passing as I would have loved to see, as the people would have loved to see. It seemed like the leaders couldn't even get by lapped cars a lot of the times, and still working out some kinks with that next-gen car. I mean, while the presentation was great, the event overall was great, still got some things we got to work on with that race car to be able to get it to where we need it to be.
Yeah, it seems like we've been working on that car for a long time.
Yeah,
it's still
too long.
a lot of exactly, way too long. Give us a recap of the race and Ryan Blaney taking control.
Yeah, there were still a lot of storylines to go along with the race. It seemed like a race that was either going to be Chevy or Toyota. Toyota swept the front row. Chase Briscoe started on the pole with Denny Hamlin in second, and they had Chevrolets behind them. And then all of a sudden, when we get to halfway through the race, it's looking like it's going to be a Ford show with Ryan Blaney out there taking the helm. So Denny Hamlin was able to maintain a decent lead for a good while, and then all of a sudden it was a three-car battle between him and Byron and Blaney. They put on a pretty good show there in the last half of the race, but Ryan Blaney was able to just take the lead and never look back when he took it. He was able to stretch it out and have a pretty commanding victory for his first of the season. Seems like it's been a long time coming. They've had a great season, have had some slip away, so it's great to see them get in victory lane. Carson Hocevar, after his heartbreak last week at Charlotte, he rallies up there, gets a second-place finish, huge for him and that team, and then rounding out that podium was Denny Hamlin. He was able to get the fastest lap of the race, win a stage. He also started second, so still a really good points day for the 11 team. But the story of the night's Ryan Blaney getting that first win of the season. Now all Penske drivers have victories this year and are locked into the playoffs already by Nashville.
Give me a driver who had high expectations going into Nashville that ended up with a disappointing finish.
I would say somebody like Corey Heim, maybe not, everybody having high expectations, but at least myself. I mean, they were running super well, and that's the Truck Series regular that's getting a few cup starts here. He was fighting for a top 10, was so happy for him, and then just made a mistake there, rookie mistake on trying to make a move on Brad Keselowski, and unfortunately finished in the 37th position.
And on the opposite of that, the driver who had low expectations but ended up having an impressive finish in Nashville.
I mean, they're expected to be up here, but I got to say Bud Wallace, just because they've had a rough stretch, really, really rough stretch this last month here. A lot of DNFs, getting caught up in crashes, a lot of stuff that hasn't been their fault, and to be able to have just a really good race last night. They were almost trapped a lap down. At one point they were, but thankfully with the series of cautions, got back on the lead lap, and then he rallies all the way to a sixth-place finish, which was just incredible resilience from him and that team to be able to have the speed to do that. And then also a little shout out to Eric Jones right behind him as seventh. A solid day still for Toyota.
I think I was reading something, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is Carson Hocevar, are people starting to treat him a little like Ross Chastain? Is he a troublemaker on the track?
It's getting to that point. It kind of reminds me, of that time where back in, 2022, 23, people were really getting on Ross Chastain for the way he was racing and ruffled some feathers. And, I mean, to be honest, I'm sure Ross Chastain took a lot of that criticism to heart, and we haven't, seen that nowadays as much. I think people have a little bit more respect for Ross Chastain. A lot of people compared it to Kevin Harvick coming up through the ranks as well, racing pretty hot-headed. But we've seen that from Carson Hocevar, not really dishing out any crazy apologies, just saying this is the way I race. He had an incident, with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at the beginning of this race where he could have cut him a little more slack. Drove into him, battling around the mid-pack as well, upper mid-pack early in the race. You just don't expect that type of move to happen, but he's just showing that's the kind of guy he is and how he will race. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wasn't too pleased with that at all. And, what makes me really excited about this, not so much for Ricky, I hate it for Ricky, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is our guest tomorrow on the Motor Stardom show tomorrow night, and so we're going to get first batch of what Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has to say about Carson Hocevar, and I will say I am incredibly honored.
That's a pretty big deal because he said he was going to stay away from the subject there at the track so that he didn't get fined, and then he's going to be on Motor Stardom. How could our listeners go follow that interview tomorrow?
Yeah, so it'll be live on YouTube. It'll be on the Instagram as well on a simulcast, but primarily live on YouTube. Just search up my name, RJ Starcevic, or Motor Stardom, and you will find it tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and we'll talk some juicy stuff with Ricky Stenhouse and maybe get a few quotes out of it. We'll see what he says. No punches will be thrown since it's virtual, but we'll see if any virtual quote punches are thrown. So I'm really excited.
Hopefully he's drinking a Sunny D screwdriver whenever you have him on the line, so that he'll open up for you there. How'd the concrete surface at Nashville impact the car setups and long-run speed yesterday?
Yeah, the concrete is so interesting. We only go to it a few times a year, and it's so different than asphalt. Just as far as the way Carl, I like the way Carl Edwards described it on the pre-race show. Which again, it's awesome to have him talking about our sport, live on air again, and just saying it's so much less forgiving. You have a slip up out of the groove, and you're just, at least the type of track that Nashville is, you're going to lose so much time. And the way it changes as well, when we first went to Nashville, they knew it wasn't going to be the raciest track in the world. The surface has aged, but they were able to, put some resin down and treatment, things like that on the track. And so it just really makes Nashville a very long run type of track where you kind of have to set up for the long run. We don't get too many yellows on those late stretches. Now, last year we did have 5 overtime restarts. This year we did not. We had a long green flag run to the end. But, your car just changes and shifts so much during the race, but it's really just, you can't afford to make a mistake. There's a lot of tracks that wear more on the tire. That's for sure. There's a lot of tracks that change more, from day to night. But the thing about Nashville is it's very, very unforgiving, and you make one mistake, you slip out of the groove, and you're going to lose so much time. And when we saw people do it on restarts, they'd go from, I know Kyle Larson at the beginning of his race, he was fighting for the 20th-ish position, just had one slip up, got loose a little bit, and you get so far out of that groove, you dropped all the way back to 35th. So it's a very unforgiving racetrack, and the concrete always, why we don't go to it all the time, obviously only a few times a year, provides for some interesting storylines.
What makes that track unique, not just what goes on on the track, but just kind of the entire weekend over there?
Yeah, the entire weekend itself, is awesome to be in Nashville. I think regardless of the type of racetrack that it is, it's always awesome to go to bring, when they announced we were bringing it back, later after 2020, I thought it was awesome just because of the fact that, especially there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Nashville nowadays, so now it's awesome to have NASCAR there. But it's not your typical, people may look at it and say it's that cookie-cutter mile and a half, but it's total opposite. There's no track out there like Nashville Superspeedway. It's not a mile and a half. It's 1.3 miles. And so it's just a little bit shorter. And those corners, you're using a lot more brake than you think. Most of the time on mile and a half, you're kind of just lifting off the throttle, coasting it through the center of the corner, but that's not what Nashville is. You enter the corner kind of heavy on the brakes. You kind of don't really coast it through the center. You kind of just heavy on the brakes, coast it maybe a tiny bit, and you're back to the throttle off the exit of the corner, whether you're running the inside or the middle lane. So it's just a really dynamic track, and it's a track that you won't see anywhere else on the schedule. And drivers just, one of those unique preparations track, kind of like a Pocono when we go there, kind of like a New Hampshire. It's just very unique, and there's nothing else on the circuit like it.
If you were a crew chief for Carson Hocevar after that top 5 finish, what's your first move after the race?
Man, if I were a crew chief, probably, second place. Well, I guess it depends, for them, that's a really, really exciting finish. That's tying his career best. So probably getting Carson a beer and celebrating with the team after the race. That would be my first move. But, as far as we look into this season, just continuing with the encouragement. They now are in a spot where, yes, it's been an up and down year. They've had some incidents. They've had some good runs. But, they're just a few points out of the playoffs, now that we are getting into that nitty-gritty part of the season where it's really time to see who our, contenders and pretenders are. They're just a few points out of the postseason, so we're not even talking that they have to win before we get to the postseason, but we're talking, they could just very easily point themselves in.
Were there any receipt moments where a driver clearly paid someone back?
Clearly paid somebody back? Not yet. You're talking about last night's race?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we haven't seen the receipts yet. There were, at least to my knowledge, there were a few run-ins, not only just the Ricky Stenhouse and Carson Hocevar incident. Obviously, we have not seen yet what Ricky Stenhouse will do when he gets to Carson Hocevar. Maybe we see it this weekend at Michigan. Maybe we see it at a short track coming up. There was also a run-in between Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek there on one of the restarts. Nothing too blatant, but more of just Christopher Bell was trying to block Eric Jones down the racetrack, and Eric Jones wasn't having it and sent him up all the way up the racetrack. So, we kind of saw the initiations of potential payback, and now we'll kind of have to sit here and wait over the next few weeks and see what happens.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got RJ Starcevic on the line with us. He is the creator of the Motor Stardom page. And don't forget, if you search up RJ Starcevic on YouTube tomorrow, you can hear his interview with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Give us an update on good old Joey Logano.
Yeah, Joey Logano, well, it was the talk of the week because, if you guys remember last year when we were at Nashville, this was the race that he won to magically propel himself into the playoffs after what had been an abysmal season so far, and you guys know what happened in the playoffs. He went on to win the championship, so it was kind of like, hey, if whoever wins this race, you never know what can happen. So, his Penske teammate gets the job done. Does that propel him to a championship later this year? We'll see. But Joey Logano still was up there. He was in contention, had a fast race car, never was able to get to the very tippity top of the race. But a fourth-place finish is something that team can't be mad about. And just the season as a whole. Looking at where they were last season and the points, obviously in the very low 10s when they got that win. Now they're sitting there 8th overall in the point standings. They already have that win on the season. So it was an overall good night for that 22 team and Joey Logano.
There you go. All right, RJ, how have you liked the Prime broadcast? I was telling Coach Brian that I really enjoy it. I think one of the reasons why I enjoy it as much as I do is just by listening to Dale Jr., and I love his podcast, so maybe that's it. Maybe it's because I was a Dale Jr. fan growing up, but how have you, as someone who covers the sport of NASCAR, liked the Amazon Prime broadcast?
They have absolutely nailed it, and it's been so awesome to watch. And yes, it's been 2 weeks, but our sample size is going to be 5 races, technically 10 if you count the TNT span. We'll see how they have the same broadcasting crew, so that may be the same thing. But Prime has absolutely nailed it. Coming in hot, you get a layup there with the Coke 600, and you have the opportunity to make that race really seem prestigious, and they did just that. They executed on bringing us the prestige of the Coke 600 and also just showing us racing and breaking it down. We talk all about Dale Jr. He is absolutely amazing. I love hearing his voice in the booth, the passion, but also Steve Letarte right next to him, I think, is just his right-hand man. The way Steve Letarte breaks down situations, breaks down strategy from a crew chief perspective, from a driver perspective, from a team perspective, it's just absolutely amazing intel. And then Adam Alexander, if you've watched any NASCAR broadcast in the last 10, 15 years, you've heard his voice. He's absolutely amazing at what he does. And then bringing in a guy like we mentioned, Carl Edwards, to be on the pre and post race panel, I think is really cool because that's somebody that the NASCAR fans haven't really heard of since he mysteriously retired almost a decade ago at this point. So having him on there is awesome. That whole crew's done a tremendous job, and they're just really bringing your interest into watching, less commercials as well is really awesome. We're going the last 60, 70 laps commercial free to just keep your mind in the game, because a lot of people sitting at home, your attention spans can get small. That commercial comes on, you kind of just phase out and you lose track of what's going on, but probably make sure you stay in, you understand the strategy, you understand what's going on. And it's been awesome to see, and I'm sure they're going to kill it these next 3 races.
Yeah, I have enjoyed it, so I'm glad that you have given it the RJ stamp of approval. Next week, we're in Michigan. No Xfinity Series, but before we dive straight into Michigan, give us a recap of what went down in the Xfinity Series over there in Nashville.
Yeah, man, it's another week no Xfinity. They get a weekend off before they go into Mexico City, but they did return and race at Nashville, and it was a pretty solid race. It was a race that was Chevrolet dominated and Justin Allgaier dominated once again, it's just really funny to look at because a guy that's a veteran, obviously signed a contract extension. We know he's still going to be Xfinity Series, at least probably a few more years to come if he's at the top of his game. But defending champion goes out there, wins Stage 1, wins Stage 2, and wins the race over Connor Zilic, who finished second for another week in a row. But just, incredible. There's a reason why I'd probably keep putting him in my 3 every single week because, the guy is just fast everywhere. And in a series of a lot of veterans, some Xfinity Series veterans, but a lot of really young guys that are learning the series, but that are going to be really great in the future. While we don't really have Cup drivers, racing in the Xfinity Series as much anymore, a guy like Justin Allgaier, I think, is the perfect totem pole to be able to chase, and clearly is in the Xfinity Series because of the dominant year that he has had. So shout out to Justin Allgaier and Junior Motorsports. They're the team to beat right now. And we'll see what happens in a few weeks when they go down south to Mexico City. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, excited to talk a little bit more with you about that next week. But for this week, we're going to be in Michigan. We've got the Cup Series and the Craftsman Truck Series. So give me your top 3 drivers for the Truck Series and the Cup Series.
Yeah, Truck Series is back at Michigan. They haven't been back there in a few years, but they provided some exciting races and exciting finishes in the past. It's going to be fun to see them. I'm looking at Corey Heim. He's absolutely dominated the Truck Series this year, looking at him to be fast, and he just wants everybody to prove that they could beat him. It was proven last week by a guy named Rajah Caruth, and I'll throw him in there. Very fast on the faster racetracks. Obviously just won at Nashville, but I think those Spire trucks have been coming very hot lately, and so Rajah, I'll have him in my 3. And then someone also who's been very fast is Lane Riggs, son of Scott Riggs, driving that 34 truck. He's been very fast, so I will throw him as the last there in my 3. And then over on the Cup Series, really excited we get to go to Michigan. Even if the racing isn't the greatest, we're watching 200-mile-per-hour racing, and it's really thrilling to see. So I'm looking at Ryan Blaney possibly going back-to-back here. He's always really, really good at Michigan. No matter the package, is always up there running up front. I like him to potentially get the victory this week. I look at somebody in the Toyota camp, and I look at somebody, Christopher Bell's had a few weeks that he hasn't been in winning contention, as of now. So I look for him to be really fast at Michigan. And then somebody, I'm going to throw in Brad Keselowski. He's going back to his hometown. He always wants to get the checkered flag at Michigan. We don't know how many years he has left in his career. And that 6 car's been a lot faster lately. Coke 600, top 5. Nashville, they had top 10 speed before getting some damage and wrecking out, unfortunately. So I think Brad Keselowski could be a little bit of a dark horse to come in there and get a Michigan victory.
And let's wrap it up, RJ, with RJ's high-powered rankings. Give me the top 5 drivers, in your opinion, currently here in NASCAR.
Yeah, it seems like it's been the same 5, but they kind of keep shuffling around a little bit. But one that hasn't, William Byron sitting there at number 1, still the points leader, and he was fighting for the win at Nashville. So those guys have been clearly the ones to beat on a consistent basis. Christopher Bell, got him at number 2. Still really fast at Nashville. Got spun out, backed it into the wall, and then still was able to rally all the way back into the top 10. So really awesome for them. Ryan Blaney finally getting that win. They've been consistent all year long, so now that they finally got that checkered flag under their belt, you see what it did to Logano last year. What will happen to Blaney this year, already having a great season. I got Denny Hamlin at 4, qualified second, ran super well at Nashville. He's always been someone to watch at Michigan as well. And then Kyle Larson kind of slipping down the rankings here. They're still fast. We know they're still going to come in and be consistent. I'm sure they could possibly fight for the win at Michigan, but been a little bit off lately. Since that Coke 600 weekend, it's been kind of a weird vibe here for the 5 team. Qualified really bad at Nashville. Did rally back for a top 10, but like to see more consistent speed from them. But it's the 5 team, and I'm sure we will.
There you go, RJ. Really looking forward to your podcast with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. tomorrow evening. That'll be a lot of fun. But thank you for your time, and have a great evening tomorrow night. And we look forward to catching up with you next Monday.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
There you go. That's RJ Starspit. Get over there to Instagram and follow his page, Motor Stardom, and then check out the interview tomorrow night with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at 6 p.m. our time, 7 p.m. Eastern. What's the most bizarre job that you've ever had? Hear from James, Coach Haddad, and myself when we get back. Text your answer into 850-215-6290. This is the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
Told you this would work.
It's the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Covering the biggest stories, breaking news, the latest trades, and taking your calls. The Inside Drive is live and local middays from the Gulf Plus studios.
Happy anniversary.
That kid was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Monday afternoon. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 86 with a gentle breeze coming out of the south-southwest around 8 miles per hour. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 73. Tomorrow, sunny and a high around 86. For Wednesday, mostly sunshine in the morning, but otherwise a likelihood of thunderstorms and a high of 85. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Pier Park, get ready to shake things up. Paradise Nutrition is now open. Craving flavor and fitness? We've got you covered. Loaded teas, protein-packed shakes, gourmet coffees, and refreshing drinks. From our signature Jimmy Buffett tea to Reese's Shake, Paradise Nutrition has over 600 flavor combos. Need energy? Appetite control? We've got add-ons like boba, biotin, collagen, and probiotics. Plus, try our donut whole shot appetite suppressant. Paradise Nutrition, Pier Park, next to Target.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
But I wonder how much time he really kind of put into the playbook.
Where it's halftime all the time.
He may be the cream of this crop of quarterbacks.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Well, they got to do something here, but otherwise this is just going to be another lost season for them.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Doghouse. I'm David Hayes along with Coach Brian Haddad and James Fife. We're the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 on your dial. You can also go to your Google store or your Apple store, type in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We are streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. All right, let's dive into... well, our trivia question of the afternoon.
It's got my head spinning a little.
So, who is the only player who has appeared in a World Series game at both Wrigley Field and Comiskey Park in Chicago? Who's the only player who has appeared in a World Series game at both Wrigley Field and Comiskey Park in Chicago? 850-215-6290. Hit us up on the Red 7T's phone line, and we will get you on the line to... do you have a guess over there, James?
I don't have a guess. I know.
Oh, you know who the answer is? And Brian, you don't know?
Well, I'm sitting there
thinking... pretty popular guy.
I mean... am I right in thinking it has to be someone from back in the day?
Back before the curse.
Because Comiskey would have been closed long before they played the 2016 series. So it had to have been 45 and before to play in Wrigley, right?
Well, was that guaranteed?
Because the GOAT curse started in 45, right? That's right. So it had to have been then. I'm going to, well, I don't want to spoil it for him.
Oh, it's okay. I'm not going to say if it's right or wrong.
I have a guess the problem is I think both of the teams he played for were actually in the American League, so it wouldn't.
This guy did play in the American League.
Oh, actually, I think this works because he would have played for the Black Sox and then for the Philadelphia A's. That's not it. So I would have guessed Eddie Collins.
No.
Okay. Well, then I'm not sure I know.
850-215-6290. If you're friends with me on Facebook, some of the posts that I've been making lately have to deal with this particular name that doesn't have anything, there's no actual ties, but the names are, I was going to say synonymous, but exactly the same. All right. And then what's the most bizarre job that you've ever had? Coach Brian has been rattling his brain, but we do have a couple of good answers. Earlier, I was saying, my most bizarre job, which it wasn't a bizarre job to do at all. You just don't normally see Caucasians, or at least I haven't, doing this certain profession. And it was rolling sushi over at the Shrimp Boat and at Pompano's over here on the beach, which is I don't think either one of those restaurants are still existing these days. So there you go. Look at me feeling all.
Especially because you were putting hamburger meat in it.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, but when I was making sushi for myself, I would use a seaweed wrap, but I would just put steak and French fries in there. Boy, I made some good stuff. I made some Southerners would be like, yeah, I like that kind of sushi. I like that kind of sushi.
We call that Theodore sushi over in Mobile. So.
I just call it American. Yeah. Let's get on over to that Red 7T's line. We've got Jerry on the line with us. Jerry, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, not too much. Just driving home from work.
Hey, there you go. What parts of town are you in right now?
I'm on 23rd Street by Dunkin' Donuts.
Hey, there you go, man. Stop in and give me one of them good old frozen coffees. Who's the only player who has appeared in a World Series game at both Wrigley and Comiskey in Chicago?
I'm going to take a guess. A long time ago, Babe Ruth.
Yes, sir. The Red Sox defeated the Cubs in 1918.
Yeah.
That's when World Series home games were held at the larger Comiskey Park. And then more famously, Ruth and the Yankees played the Cubs at Wrigley Field in the 1932 World Series.
What threw me. I forgot that they did that some early on.
Hey, have you ever won a prize from us here on ESPN Northwest Florida before?
Yes, I have. About 2 months ago.
All right, sounds good. Well, just do me a favor and hang on the line, and James is going to grab some more information from you, okay?
All right.
All right. Great stuff right there. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. So if you have any awkward jobs, text them into us, 850-215-6290. I'll read some of the ones that we have here on the post that I created. We've got Boston Tim, which I was able to spend some time with him yesterday. We were burning some of his brush in his yard. If you were to look at the pile before we started and then after we got done, you would have been like, what were you guys doing all day? Didn't get a whole bunch done, but it was still fun nonetheless. He comments and says, finding bodies after Katrina.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
That is absolutely bizarre. Jacob Baxter says, getting people qualified for, I don't remember the exact program name, but is what most people refer to as Obama phones, even though the program was started under Clinton. He also says he was also once paid in scratch-off tickets to haul a wrestling ring from Greenwood, Florida to Pavo, Georgia. I'm sure that doesn't happen every day. I mean,
it's rare you get two southern towns I haven't heard of. That's impressive.
I've heard of Pavo, but just because of the wrestling group, the guys that come in with Jack Patterson, which they're going to be having an event going on this Saturday. So I'll have Jack and some of the wrestlers in this Friday coming up to talk about that particular event. Kyle Wright says, I once got to run a soundboard for an afternoon radio show while the host's mom drank wine on the couch. That was right here. Ethan Hewitt says, working at Florida State Hospital, which is Chattahoochee, which I've heard a story or two or three from there, and I can imagine the level of bizarredom that was surrounding that place. And then Doc A, Steve Alexander, you can listen to him right here on the Inside Drive weekdays from 11 a.m. Tuesdays at 11:20. He said he worked at an oldies radio station in the early 90s, calling strangers and playing 30-second clips of songs and then writing down their reactions, 4 of us, in a closet-sized room for 5 hours a day, which I guess that room back there would be technically bigger than a closet. Well, I think we should just set the mics up in there. How you feel about that, James?
Works for me.
Hey, there you go, man. It gets a little cold in this room sometimes, so we could just cozy up back there. James, you're a man of many jobs. Did you ever have a bizarre job?
Not really bizarre, but the job that I had that you probably don't really see me doing is when I was working as an intern at a radio station. They offered me $50 cash an hour to wear the beaver suit. So basically, it was like a mascot, a beaver mascot. The only thing was it wasn't a beaver. It was more of a groundhog. And it was a suit that was built for a woman that was about 5'5". And for those of you out there that haven't met me, I'm somewhere around 6'3". So I'm sitting there squatting into this thing the best I can and waving like a T-Rex with my arms. Because if I had my arms out at all, you would just see my big old arms coming out because the gloves didn't go big enough. The arms weren't long enough. And it was also July and August in Kentucky. So still an incredibly hot time of year to be doing that. So I'm out in front of, like car dealerships and grocery stores waving to people as they go by.
Yeah. And you are cramped in
I was
the suit.
Cramped in the suit, and I was sweating in the suit, and I was cramping in the suit because I was losing all of that heat, and it was 2 hours at a pop. But man, that $50 cash in hand when you are a student in college, huge.
It actually was a gopher, according to your wife on Facebook.
It was a horrible mascot outfit. It was bad.
That just reminds me of Caddyshack, the movie, right? Well, there was a video I saw today of Chevy Chase riding in a vehicle with someone, and they passed by this mini golf place called Caddyshack, and they went up to it and everything. And the owner, like one of the first things he said was, "I don't know if you noticed this or not, but it's spelled Caddie, so that you guys didn't come after me." But outside of that, they got themselves a hot dog and enjoyed some fellowship. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up is going to be Steve Barnes breaking down the college baseball regionals right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the sports talk and live play-by-play have to end. Just say, "Hey Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida." From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Monday. For tonight, clear skies and a low of 73 with a calm wind. Tomorrow morning, sunshine with temps around 85. In the afternoon and evening, a mixture of light showers and mostly sunshine with a moderate breeze and a temperature near 87. Moving into Wednesday, about the same with a high of 84 and lightly raining. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? If competitive pricing and a quick turnaround are what matter to your business, come see us at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. Or you can give us a call at 850-326-3000. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport. The best place in town to take a leak.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Do you want to eat like a local? The Local 115 is now open. Local drinks, local sports, and local food. Delicious oysters, crab cakes, steamed seafood, gumbos, salads, paninis, wings, wine, and cold beer. Nothing fried. That's right. No fried foods at Local 115. Amazing local food with an exciting local sports and mural theme. Eat like a local at the Local 115.
115 Harrison Avenue, downtown Panama City.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. ESPN Northwest Florida. He entered a kids' 1 mile fun run and came in 9th. David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs. Weekdays 4 to 6 on ESPN Northwest Florida and the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
It is that time of the year to get your AC checked. I'm not even sure if it's actually the time to get your AC checked. I just know that it's starting to get a little hot.
Heck
so if
yeah,
your
it is.
AC is going out, the perfect place to call is Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They are located in Lynn Haven, Florida, but you can call them at 850-782-3513. They are the latest sponsor here on the Afternoon Underdog, so please use Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical as they do great work. We'll get over to the Red 7T's phone line where we have Steve Barnes, senior writer for therebelwalk.com. Steve, how are you doing on this Monday afternoon?
It's a Monday, but I'm still getting through it.
Hey, there you go, man. I can't wait to
Now,
Go ahead.
I got to tell you, man, I saw I've been doing this a long time. You know that. I think I saw one of the oddest things I've ever seen in sports last night.
All right.
It was the Ole Miss game against Murray State, and Ole Miss had 2 outs already. Luke Hill steps up to the plate, and he takes a pitch to the batting helmet. So he's trying to go to first base. Trainers come out. Doctor comes out. They're like, nope, concussion protocol.
Wow.
Whoa.
And so they take him off the field, and they had a pinch runner in. The funny thing is, even with 2 outs, Ole Miss scores 8 runs. I think there's 2 or 3 pitching changes. During that time, he passes concussion protocol, and he comes back to it having a bat in the same inning.
Wow, that seems like that should be against the rules, right? But again, we're not playing football; we're playing baseball. So
no,
there is that.
It's the rule. If you pass concussion protocol, you can go back in the game.
Yeah, no, I was kind of being facetious because how often do we see guys passing concussion protocol in football? Not very often. I would say that the numbers are more heavily in favor for them having to sit out for at least the rest of that game. But yeah, interesting. I did not see that. In fact, of all of the storylines, I guess with all of the upsets in college baseball, that didn't seem to be one that most people were talking about. But what's your best and worst of the weekend, Steve?
All right, this one's not baseball related, but I think Brian's going to like it. College Football Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Have finally lowered their standards a little bit, and I hate saying lower their standards, but I think Mike Leach should have got credit for that bowl win that his team had after him, which would have put him over the threshold. But Mike Leach is now eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame, and he should be in it.
As is Jackie Sherrill.
Yeah, it's a 2-part.
Who was my guy. So, I'm with you. And the thing about it is, Steve, I understand having benchmark numbers, but it doesn't take in kind of the totality of a career, because you could have been, spent a whole lot of time in the sticks, in a place where you did a fantastic job just to be 500 and then develop into one of the greatest coaches of all time, and that can work against you. We've already talked about how absurd it is, the College Hall of Fame when it comes to players. Guys like Eli Manning can't get in, and stuff like that. But I am glad that they've reduced it a little bit. I wish they would give a little bit of, I can't believe I'm saying this, but subjectivity to it, because you do need, a little bit of wiggle room. But at least this brings in, 3 names. Look, Leach is definitely going to go in. Jackie and Les Miles both carry a little bit of baggage as it relates to some things. Yeah. But I do think both of them were qualified, outstanding football coaches who should be considered. So I think this is a great move by the NCAA or by the College Hall of Fame.
But my baseball, my best of the weekend, I guess. I just love the underdogs in the NCAA tournament. I just love it. I think it's good for the sport. I don't think we need to see, the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series every year. It's really cool when the Padres get there. It's really cool when the Devil Rays get there. That's really cool. And now, what UTSA did, that was great. Wright State knocking off Vanderbilt. Loved it. UALR has given LSU everything they want. Mm-hmm. And, it's going to start in a minute. Murray State, it's not going to shock me if they beat Ole Miss today.
Yeah. David and I were talking about this, Steve, before we came on the air and how different it is. With football, it seems like we kind of want the big names, the heavy hitters. And in basketball, it's always been a lot about the Cinderellas. So I was kind of curious where it went with baseball. But the only thing I can think of that helps, with baseball being more, tilted toward the Cinderella, I think particularly in football, we have so many big name players just because of how popular it is and all that. And very few of them are one and done. Really nobody is. Basketball one and done has somewhat changed that in the terms of, the big names. And baseball, really, it's rare. When you had Skeens and Cruz at LSU, it was close. And I wouldn't say those were household names. So I guess with that fact, it's more about the program's kind of gravitas itself. But, if you said, well, look, Vandy in Texas got knocked out, most people would be like, oh, wow, that's weird. And they say, name a player on either team. Nobody probably could.
Yeah, great
so maybe that helps kind of boost the Cinderella argument a little bit for me. But it was definitely shocking for me to see how much trouble host teams had this week.
Well, it's the brand name.
Yeah.
So that's why, I think Coastal Carolina is one of the best teams in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody knows Coastal Carolina.
That's right.
They know South Carolina, they know Clemson, but who's Coastal Carolina? They've got some really good talent, and if you don't watch out, Auburn, you're going down.
Mm-hmm. And that's not a tough trip for them either. It's not that far.
No, Coastal, they travel.
Yeah.
I've seen them play football in Troy, and they brought, 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Oh, yeah.
So.
What did you think of Coastal Carolina's coach coming out and kind of lambasting Kevin O'Sullivan, the Gators coach, for his antics towards the field crew and towards the administrators of CCU, based on the fact that the team who was playing the night before, East Carolina, playing past midnight, and the Gators in East Carolina were supposed to play at 12 o'clock local time, and that game did not get underway until 1 o'clock. So Sully had some issues with that. What's your perspective on it?
I would have asked him what he'd have done, but differently.
Yeah.
How would you made it better? And he could probably not answer that question.
Yeah, that's a pretty quick answer
yes,
to all of that. Did we dive into your worst on the side of things?
Not yet, but I got two of them. One of them is why do they have the green bases in baseball but not softball? I saw two softball games this week that had runners interference going to first base. If they had the green base, never would have a problem. And golly, this was like big rhubarbs in the softball games. Simple. Put the bases out there like baseball's doing.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't do that, especially with smaller base paths. With that going on, or not smaller base paths, but the distance from home plate to first base is much shorter there, and you get a lot more bang plays, and their ankles are just susceptible as any other first baseman's, be it male or female. So I'm right there with you. I don't know, and I would imagine that that's where that rule kind of originated from. Maybe not fast pitch softball, but I've been seeing it in slow pitch softball for a number of years.
My other one is, why do we not have a 10-run rule in the NCAA tournament?
It would make sense because you're talking about having to use up so many arms in a 4-team regional with double elimination.
Does anybody think Binghamton was going to come back to beat Georgia when they're down 20-4?
Right.
No.
And I'll tell you, this what gets me is last night. Murray State is playing Ole Miss. Now they got to play again. Well, they're starting to play right now, I believe.
Yeah.
And the thing that gets me is they had to use so many arms, and Ole Miss won by 11 runs. It was to the point where Ole Miss had a pitcher who had thrown 11 2/3 innings all year long.
Yeah.
But they put him in there. The next inning, Murray State put in a kid who had thrown 10 2/3 innings all year long.
Yep.
I mean, you just run. I mean, the guy they're going to throw out there today for Ole Miss, he's thrown 36 all year. He's a freshman from Gaucher. Okay, well, I mean, he's not even one of your top 7 pitchers, and you got to throw him in the end-all, be-all game.
Yep.
I mean, if you could have cut that thing off at 5 innings last night, that would have helped both teams.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
And also, this is not a worse, but I thought it was weird. A deceiving stat of the week. Georgia Tech at the regionals scored 29 runs.
Oh.
Gave up only 26. They were 1-2.
Mm-hmm. It was like the 1960 World Series. The Pirates beat the Yankees on Mazeroski's walk-off. I think the Yankees outscored the Pirates by 15 runs over that World Series, and they lost it. Because all their wins were big. Yeah.
And on that Mazeroski home run, who was playing left field for the Yanks?
Oh, God, who was playing left?
You're not going to believe it.
60. Would have been playing left. I'm blanking.
This was in 2016?
Mickey wouldn't have played left.
Yogi Berra.
That's right. That's right. They did move him out there. Oh, my gosh.
What did you say 16 for?
No, 60.
Oh,
I was thinking
okay,
through the
gotcha.
thing. That's right.
Yogi
old Forbes Field.
Yep.
Forbes Field.
That's right. Got Maz into the Hall for sure. That was a big, big hit.
Who've been some of the best players in the regionals that you've witnessed to this point, Steve?
Well, actually, the best player in the tournaments I've seen is in softball. That's Najiri, Canada, from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Not only does she have Texas Tech in the World Series, the last 2 years she's had Stanford there.
Yep.
She's played 3 straight. And so my money, I don't care who's. They could be playing anybody in the Final Four. I'm going with Texas Tech. If she's throwing, I'm going with her. Yeah. But the best in baseball, and it's going to sound strange, it's Murray State. It's Dustin Mercer, the right fielder.
Okay.
He on the year he's hit 356. He's like got 23 doubles and 4 triples. He's not a big power guy, but he just sprays the ball all over the place. So far, in 3 games, he's had 16 plate appearances. He's been on base in 13 of them. He's, quote, the catalyst.
Yeah.
If I could pick anybody, I don't care if they're a first-round draft pick, number 1 draft pick, if I could pick anybody in this field to start a team, I would take him.
I wish I'm blanking on the kid's name right now, but at Wright State, they showed the stat during the game against Vandy where they bumped him. And they showed home runs in May, and they had Judge, I think, had 11. Shohei had 15 or whatever. And then this kid had like 5 more than Shohei. He was like so hot through the month of May. I did want to ask you, kind of piggybacking on the Wright State deal, I'm kind of curious where you fall on this, Steve, because it is such a chess match figuring out. You know, we even talked about it going in. Do you rest your aces if you feel like you're going through? Well, I think we know the answer to that now. But Wright State leading off the tournament against Vandy. Their pitcher's got a no-hitter going through 6.
Cam Allen.
Okay. 72 pitches. I mean, it's not like he's at 100. He's 72 pitches. He's
77.
77, sorry. He's no-hitting Vanderbilt. They pull him. Of course, Vandy comes back, wins the game. I mean, did you have any thoughts on that at the time, or, is that just a factor of trying to win an entire, 4-team double elimination tournament versus trying to win a ball game?
Well, I think you got to win game 1.
Yeah.
And I had mentioned this. I sent an email to Dave that I said last week. I think Ole Miss should not throw their ace Hunter Elliott game 1 to save him. So they didn't. They threw the second guy and got beat.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, don't listen to me anymore, guys. Trust me. Golly. No wonder I'm not a baseball coach.
Dave and I were talking about this earlier, though, Steve, is I just did not think the 4s were... I didn't think we had reached the point in college baseball quite yet where the 4s were good enough. I knew the 3s were.
Yeah.
But I think this has been an eye-opening tournament for that. I think the fact that more guys are going the college route because the money and the resources are there is spreading the talent. And I think these 4s are solid. I didn't see any duds, other than maybe 1 or 2.
I equate it with March Madness, where you always took a 12 over a 5 seed in the first round. I think now you're looking, maybe take a 14 over a 3.
Yeah.
Because these guys have been together. But I mean, look at some of these teams. Look at Murray State.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, they've been together for 3 or 4 years. This is a totally new team for Ole Miss. Basically, you've got, I think, there are 5 guys left from the 2022 national championship team.
Yeah.
Everybody else is new.
Yep.
So wow. Who do you like, the experience or, quote, the talent?
I do not like the pants that the pitcher for Murray State is wearing right now. They're like basketball shorts almost. They're like 3 or 4 inches above the knee, man. But hey.
Oh, did you see the guy the other day? He was basically wearing, basically boxer shorts over some leggings.
Now, look, I was going to say, I like the guys.
Legal?
I like the guys who will have the stirrups, the legging. But
he's got those.
Man. Yeah, but those are 4 feet down from where his pants in.
It reminds me of the old White Sox unis that they had for that 3 games. Like,
oh, my gosh.
Back in,
the 70s? Oh, God.
Oh, Chet Lemon, I felt so sorry for that guy because he had to slide in those.
Oh, man. Could you imagine being the catcher in those, And
Tim Raines wouldn't have any place for his vial in those.
Neither would Ricky Henderson.
That's right. That's why they all slid on their stomach.
Wright State, Chris says Wright State's been to the regionals 11 out of 19 years. They aren't your typical
That's true.
4th seed.
But I don't think, like I said, there were a lot of 4s that showed up.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a lot of the ones were going down in the second game. There were a lot of them going down in the first one.
Right.
That was something else.
And your best from not last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, Steve, the LSU Shreveport Pilots ended up winning the NAIA World Series and completing that 59-0 season, the first confirmed undefeated team in college baseball history. Now that history has been made, what do you think about that, Steve?
I don't think it's going to be matched. I think it's going to be one of those DiMaggio streaks that you're just, who is it ever going to match that?
59?
You've got to have a bad game at some point.
Yeah.
And these guys didn't. It's, I the other day I said they're like the 98 Yankees, and I said that's the best baseball team ever. People say, no, it's the 27 Yankees, it's this. There's an old saying in baseball, you win 50, you lose 50. It's what you do with the other 62.
Yeah.
Okay, if you do that with the 98 Yankees, they lost 50 games. They won 50 games, and they won the other 62.
Yep.
Nobody's ever going to do that again either.
Well, and the key, then they finished it up.
Yeah, that's the key, right?
Because
you go to the
that
Mariners.
separates the 01 Mariners from, That's right.
Well, it's, they sort of messed over the Padres with Mark Langston in that game.
Yeah.
So, and Big Game James is wearing that Padres jersey, and I worked for the Padres in 98 with the Bay Bears, and so, I was just livid. It's like, no, come on. That was strike 3. Then O'Neill hits the home run, and it's all over, basically. Yep. But, and speaking one more thing of Major League Baseball, I saw today that the Mariners are going to retire Randy Johnson's 51.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Didn't Ichiro wear 51?
He did, and for at least a bulk of his career, he absolutely did. I was thinking of that.
They should retire them at the same time.
Oh, would that not be the best Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor, whatever, jersey retirement of all time if it was Randy, the big unit, and Ichiro Suzuki? Because, he did wear 51.
The only time he did not wear 51 was with the Yankees.
Who was 51 with them?
I don't know, but he wore 31 with the Yankees.
Is what Bernie Williams was like 55, wasn't he?
No, Bernie was 51.
Okay, all right, so there it is.
That's right. And he would have been there still at that time, I believe.
Man.
And a friend of mine just sent me an email. Swayze Field is packed. So you got about 11,000 people there.
Yeah, we're looking at it right now. It's a big old crowd, that's for sure.
Top 2, no score yet. Also, another reason for the Mariners to go ahead and retire the big units and Ichiro's 51 together is right now Ichiro's 51 years old. So I don't know exactly when his birthday is because Wikipedia is just saying born in 1973. But hey, get her done, man. I love that idea. Steve, anything else that you want to bring to the table before we bounce on out of here?
Let's see.
Not much really. Go ahead.
I still like Coastal to sneak up on Auburn. Trying to think of another super that might be kind of interesting.
Oh, Tennessee, Arkansas, if Tennessee gets past Wake.
Yeah, and in this household, please let Tennessee get past them.
Yeah.
Because they're really dying because of softball today.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be kind of funny if UTSA beat UCLA?
Yes. Let's go Roadrunners
I'm
all the
in.
way. Meet
I'm
me.
all in on that.
Oh, I'm buying me a UTSA shirt. That's all there is to it. And UCLA, we used to make, at Troy, we said, we had T-shirts that said, I go to UCLA. Unknown college in Lower Alabama.
So, Steve, real quick, the last 5 years, the SEC's won the national championship all 5 years with 5 different teams. If that's going to happen this year, you have a few candidates. You have Auburn, you have Arkansas, LSU would not count, Ole Miss would not count because they've won in that time frame. Tennessee would not count, and Oklahoma's bounced. So what is they're the top 2 seeds remaining left. What's the likelihood that we get a 6th different SEC champ in a row here?
The odds are against us, but, just the law of averages. But if I had to pick one, if Arkansas gets hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Auburn's. I'm not sure Auburn's going to get past Coastal. So,
right.
If I had to pick one, I'd pick Arkansas.
Okay.
There you go.
That's if Ole Miss doesn't get to the Supers, and I'm not sure they're gonna. But
yeah,
wouldn't it be great if Murray State did it?
And I got to ask you one more thing here. I'm watching this Murray State thing, and I've seen their little celebration move to each other, and doesn't that look like the old Italian?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I thought about that yesterday. It's like, up yours, basically, is what it's saying. It's the old Cheech and Chong thing.
Yeah, there we go.
So I thought that too, and, wow.
Didn't seem TVG, at least, so. Yeah.
Well, hey, it's ESPN. They can do what they want to. They're ESPN. Let's face it. But the other, wouldn't it be, I think, didn't Coastal win the national championship?
Yes.
2016.
Yeah. 2016, yeah.
Would it be weird if they had two of them, and a lot of SEC teams don't have one?
Do we purge and get Coastal Carolina to come to the SEC then?
I don't think they would.
Yeah.
What Steve and I would agree on is neither of us could live it down if Southern Miss found a way to win the thing.
Well, that's the other thing. Wouldn't it be weird if Southern wins tonight? You would have two Sun Belt teams in the Super Regionals.
I know. That'd be unreal.
And two had hosted the regionals.
Yep.
That was already, unprecedented.
That's right. Crazy stuff. It's been a heck of a year for baseball.
It's baseball.
Yep, that's right. It is baseball.
All right, Steve, it's time for us to wrap it up. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all the best and worst and everything that you bring to the table for us week in and week out. We appreciate you. And, hey, man, not too far away from college football season being upon us, but college baseball will suffice for now. Steve Barnes, ladies and gentlemen. Steve, take care. We'll catch up with you soon.
Love you guys like fried chicken.
Man, and I am hungry.
I'm hungry, yeah.
Oh, get out. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up next, it's time for the PCB Hobby Takeover.
Come on vacation.
Summer vacation. Hey, how's your vacation going?
Leave on probation.
Sheriff's deputies in Panama City Beach arresting 161 people during an out-of-control spring break weekend.
Welcome to the Emerald Coast. Have a great time at the beautiful beaches, but not like end up in the back of a police cruiser great. A friendly reminder from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Monday. For tonight, clear skies and a low of 73 with a calm wind. Tomorrow morning, sunshine with temps around 85. In the afternoon and evening, a mixture of light showers and mostly sunshine with a moderate breeze and a temperature near 87. Moving into Wednesday, about the same with a high of 84 and lightly raining. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Cold, creamy, and gourmet. Milkshake Factory is now open at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix next to First Watch. Unbelievably delicious handcrafted milkshakes and chocolates like the famous chocolate bark. Try the mouth-watering chocolate dipped strawberry shake. Family-friendly fun and unforgettable shakes await. Milkshake Factory now open at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix next to First Watch on Back Beach. Milkshake Factory.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? We can typically replace them while you wait. Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? In many cases, we can have it back to you the next day. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, just south of Tractor Supply. The best place in town to take a leak.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Eat, sleep, game. This is your sports obsession. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
The fourth annual Pops Pig Pickin' Barbecue is going to be Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 6 p.m. All proceeds go to benefit hurricane relief efforts spearheaded by Chef Ross. Dinner tickets are $20. There's going to be a pool tournament at 1 p.m. that is $15 to enter. All of this in honor of Ron Pops Robinson, which is Chef Ross's dad. We'll have Chef Ross in the building with us tomorrow afternoon. This will be Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 6 at the Break Room, 2727 Joan Avenue. This segment is brought to you by PCB Hobby. It is the PCB Hobby Takeover, and we are miserable on this Monday because normally...
Well, thanks.
Well, no, it's not a true miserable. It's You know, when Todd comes in, owner of PCB Hobby, he always says Happy Monday. So when I don't get to hear my Happy Monday, I'm just like, what's
fair enough.
what's
You're not
going
gonna
on?
hear me say happy anything.
No,
usually.
you're like, oh, this terrible Monday. yeah.
I think that's why you have me on Monday.
It makes me look more optimistic than what I really am.
And I don't have a captain's hat, so I'll just have to play the part here.
But you are the captain of this show.
Hey, there we go.
You're the Pascal Siakam of the Afternoon Underdogs.
Well, I mean, you want to talk busy. Good gracious. The summer's always busy around here, as we all know. But Todd and Bill and a lot of the crew, I think they were in Dallas for a comic convention. They're picking up a big collection of sports stuff from Denver. Myself and Josh representing sports and Ethan representing the TCGs were in New Orleans in the Superdome.
Yeah, how cool
for
was
a
that?
card show. It was actually pretty cool. It was a weird the way they laid it out, but
did it still look like a football arena?
When the field's not down, it's amazing how small it looks.
Really? It looks...
Well, it just doesn't look like the field fits in there.
And it doesn't have like the separation.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, man, I hadn't been in the Superdome in like 35, 40 years. And it still amazes me how a stadium that big, you're right on top of the action.
Yeah.
I mean, you're close. So, but it was cool. We're in the mezzanine set up, but you could see out onto everything. Their setup, like I said, I hadn't been there in a long time with like their vending and everything was really cool, and got to stay right there next to it. So it was a good time. The show was pretty good. We definitely picked up a lot of new sports singles and stuff. Picked up actually some TCG sealed product, which has been hard to keep in shop. That I brought back to the shop yesterday, and we sold some of it then, but it's in shop now. A lot of new singles in shop, and then today, good gracious, we bought a whole bunch of stuff just over the counter. So there's a lot of new product and a lot of new singles in the shop. We're obviously constantly streaming on eBay Live. It's a busy, busy time at PCB Hobby. This Saturday is going to be our kids' trade day. So learn to play Pokemon and all that. Thursday will be the Lorcana night, and it's also, there is a new Lorcana set that came out this past Friday. So it'll be the first night of our play with the new Lorcana set. And then, as always, Magic on Friday, and then Pokemon on Sundays. So it's busy, busy, busy down at PCB Hobby, but come out and check out the new stuff, because in about 3 weeks we're heading up to New York for Fanatics Fest, and we're going to take a lot of what we have there and hopefully come back with even more.
Does it feel like to you that y'all just got done doing Fanatics Fest in New York?
No, because I'm so excited to go back.
Okay.
I just love
Has it
New
been
York.
a year, or did they do 2
Well, no,
years?
they did it in August last year, so it hasn't been a full year. But
I mean, daggum, same way, though, because they had a crazy guest list last year.
It might be better this year.
Who is it that you're... Give me 2 or 3 names, if you could talk about
Well,
that
I
you're
mean, the
looking forward.
wrestling is so loaded.
Right.
I mean, they've got everybody that's going to be there.
So you're looking forward to meeting Logan Paul?
No. No, I still got to figure out a way to meet CM Punk or Rhea Ripley, but I need to go back. I'm afraid of saying a name that, so I'll look at it here in a minute, and I'll try and
Saying
update
a name
it.
that actually isn't going to be there?
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to confuse last year and this year.
Yeah.
All like that. But I know it was a huge, and I know they haven't finished it yet, so they're still working on that. But they've done a better job in terms of laying it out. Like last year, they had it in the wrong spot. The lines were a little long. It was a little cumbersome. This year, they're doing it all downstairs at the Javits, where they have so much room. And it's going to be very well put together this year. Last year was the first one.
Right, and when they're doing, I mean, isn't that got to be the hardest part of the trial and error and all of that is your layout?
Definitely. I mean, because you're guessing.
Yeah.
You know, they had the sports card show over on the side, which I didn't mind. I thought it was fine, but they wanted to incorporate us more into the middle. Some of their fan experience thing that wasn't related around pro athletes didn't really hit and like they thought it would, so they're kind of removing that. You know, you live and learn. I mean, it's like anything. You know, you do it and you have the best idea forward, but then you see how it actually happens and you make adjustments. So, but I'll give you some names here. LeBron James, Tom Brady.
Pretty big names.
Kevin Durant, WWE star Travis Scott.
Hey, is that how they have them listed?
No.
Okay.
Derek Jeter, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Victor Wembanyama, Jaden Daniels, Kevin Hart, I Show Speed. I actually do know who that is.
Yeah, he's done a little wrestling stuff as well.
Kevin Costner, Gronk, of course, A-Rod, Drewski. Now, I don't know who Drewski is.
Drewski's kind of in that I Show Speed.
There we go. Okay.
He's not in the Travis Scott stratosphere.
Here we go, James Henrik Lundqvist.
There you go.
For WWE, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, The Undertaker, Rhea Ripley, Jey Uso, Liv Morgan. Good guy.
So you have an opportunity to meet at least Rhea, though.
Yeah.
She is not hard to look at either.
I have a feeling if I saw her, I would give off stalker vibes and they'd have security all over me. But, I mean, it is unreal. I mean, even soccer stars, Roberto Carlos, that's crazy cool. Jackson Dart will be there, of course. Ice Cube will be there.
Oh, man, you got to get a Jackson Dart autograph.
I'll be honest with you, Cooper Flagg will be there. As crazy as it sounds, I would love to meet Rich Eisen.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to talk.
His show's coming back to ESPN.
Yeah, here we go. Max Fried, Sauce Guard. I mean, it's crazy. So Triple H will be there. It is a loaded.
Tiffany Haddish. I was so excited about when I went to the Daytona 500. She was doing she was doing something there, like maybe the Gentleman Start Your Engines or something like that. So that was really cool because I was about from me to you from her. That weekend, I rubbed elbows and fist bumped with a lot of really cool people.
Yeah,
I say cool people. A lot of people who people know who they are.
There's your buddy. Logan Paul will be there.
Hey, there you go, man. I'm excited for you. You get to meet your true life hero.
Albert Pujols is going to be there. I mean, Rodman's going to... This thing is unbelievable. So, anyway, we're headed up to that and obviously looking forward to it.
There you go. What's the most underrated card or set in the hobby right now? Maybe we go by sport with this one?
Well, it's a tough one. I was thinking about this earlier. I mean, underrated is hard.
Right.
There was an easy one a couple years ago, Cosmic Chrome. Nobody saw it coming, and it became a huge deal.
Those
days are gone.
Julie really liked, right?
Yep. Those days are gone now. Everybody knows about it. I would say I still think the college stuff is underrated. The fully licensed Bowman Chrome college stuff, I think, is really cool. I think there's such an identity to your college team. I think it's so great to get the first round of things out there. You know, like this year, you can come into it going, I want a Ty Simpson. Well, those have been out for a couple of years, but, you know, he hasn't been playing. So that's going to be interesting. For the women's college basketball, there's such an affinity because the college game is bigger than the WNBA is. So I think the college stuff is still underrated. For single cards of players, there are three that stood out to me that they're popular and they're doing well, but not nearly spiking the way I thought they would. For basketball, Tyrese Halliburton. Jalen Brunson stuff took off. Anthony Edwards stuff took off. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander stuff took off. Hallie has just kind of
stayed.
Yeah, I mean, it's trickling now since they finally won the series. But Halliburton stuff, I'm actually surprised has not spiked more than it did.
Let me ask you this: if you're holding on to Halliburton stuff or Pacer stuff, when is the right time to sell? Do you wait till after the finals, hope that they win? Do you post them now during the finals? Because if they lose the finals, doesn't the value just drain from at least some of the Pacers?
I'll be honest with you. Generally speaking, after the finals are over, it drains from everybody.
Doesn't matter if they won or not.
Because interest fall. Now, we see this. The easier parallel to draw is AFC, NFC Championship weekend to Super Bowl weekend. Generally speaking,
weeks there,
right?
Because
but
of the
generally speaking, the time to sell your top quarterbacks is right at the championship weekend, like it ending kind of thing.
Okay,
that's when your hype is highest, and that's when people will have moved on this stuff. Everyone thinks wait till the Super Bowl. It's not so much that they've done anything different or anything like that. It's more so much supply comes on the market. Everybody wants to wait and see. Boom, Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl. All this supply floods the market all at once. It's not as hard to find it. NFC Championship, everybody's waiting to see what Jalen Hurts will do. There's demand. Everybody wants Jalen Hurts because he might do it. That's when you move on that stuff. So if you're talking about the absolute, generally speaking, now something magical happens, then it's a little bit different. But generally speaking, I'd say on the lead up. So to me, I'd be moving Shai Gilgeous now. I'd be moving Halliburton because he's lagging. I'm curious.
Yeah.
But I'd probably even be moving him. I'd be moving because all these guys have interest now because everybody's playing the stock futures that they're going to win. But again, there's limited supply on the market now for what there will be after the finals.
Let's say that you're holding on to Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers win the finals. Does that market, if you hold on to it throughout the summer and wait till October again, does that make more sense maybe by holding on to it throughout the offseason?
There will be a little bit of a bump on Halliburton, probably because they're definitely going to be underdogs to the Thunder.
Yeah, they are.
So
like
whereas with the Thunder, I think it starts to drop off pretty soon thereafter. Now, speaking of that, over the next couple of weeks, it's not going to be a good selling time. Then wait till the anticipation for the season start. The funny thing is basketball, unlike football and baseball, the lead up to the season is clearly primo time to sell. Basketball, I think because the playoffs hit in the summer, when more people are out and spending money and thinking about this kind of stuff, basketball, the key time is in the playoffs. So, I would still... If you're talking 2 weeks after the championship is over, at that point, then I would hold till the start of the season. But generally speaking, basketball, that time is not significantly better than the playoffs, whereas in baseball and in football, it really is.
Yeah.
Football in August and July is nuts for selling cards.
Which is wild because all of the hype is there.
It's hype, but it is also all the shows in the summer. Kids are out of school. It's away from Christmas. It's away from paying for last Christmas. So there's money to be spent. People are more willing to spend money in the summer because they're used to it, going out and vacationing and doing things. So you have a lot of money moving, and with football anticipation, it's nutty.
Nothing like it in all the sports, is there? Have you ever traded?
I was going to say real quick, the other two, similar kind of things. Aaron Judge hasn't spiked like I thought in baseball. Now, he's moved.
Right.
But like Shohei's probably spiked higher than him the last couple of weeks because he's been on this tear in May. And the big one in baseball right now is Pete Crow Armstrong because there's so much to go up. But Judge, I still think hasn't spiked the way I thought it would. And then in football, it is Jalen Hurts. I don't get it. I mean, a lot of Joe Burrow stuff will still outsell Hurts, and Hurts is on a better team, and he's just won the championship, and I don't know. But, I mean, maybe because he doesn't have the ability to put up the passing numbers or something like that, but Hurts stuff I still think is undervalued.
And then last one we'll ask you before we get to our final segment and dive into our best and worsts of the weekend. Have you ever traded away a card that now haunts you?
Haunts is the wrong word because when I was collecting, it was junk wax era, so there's nothing that's outrageously expensive than it should have been. I can't tell you how many 89 Upper Deck King Griffey Juniors I traded away. And that's a key card. But in that time frame, it was about volume. It was about getting a lot of cards, building sets, and so you used the big hits to get you more stuff.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I still have 2 or 3, and a couple of them are and I've bought some high-graded ones since, but at least 20 of them I had. So, I mean, if I had those now,
what do those go a piece for?
Well, it depends. I mean,
obviously it depends.
In a PSA 9, those are probably in the $250, $275 range. In a PSA 10, well over $1,000.
Woo.
But it's the most graded card in history. But I mean, I can do the next one too if you have time.
All right, why not? We'll take time. Current MLB rookie cards. Is the market too hyped or is it just right?
So, a bit of a weird answer. Generally speaking, I don't think the rookie card market is too hyped, with one exception, PCA. His stuff is insane, what it's doing. The Bowman First prospecting market is too hyped. It's unbelievably volatile. It's worse than football week-to-week quarterbacks.
Are they expecting too many guys to make too big of jumps?
The swings are too big.
Okay.
They're going way too high, and it drops off way too hard. It's like the way NASDAQ was in the crazy days of the stock market. Tech stocks, going into, well, you wouldn't remember the 2000 bubble, but, it's like that. So I think that market is nuts in terms of things. A guy gets called up and goes up 800%, and then 2 weeks later he's down 900%.
Yeah. Well,
so it's
definitely
weird.
volatile.
Yeah, it just drops off crazy. But the rookie market isn't crazy other than one or two outliers, and it's usually somebody like PCA who there wasn't a whole lot of movement towards last year because it was such a loaded class.
Right.
Boom. Now he takes off and everybody's all in. So
there you go. Y'all get over to PCB Hobby this Saturday is
Kids
Trade Day.
Yep.
So you can also go there and check out or learn how to play Pokemon and all great stuff there at PCB Hobby. This was a PCB Hobby takeover. If you haven't been, Brian, tell them where to go.
11939 Panama City Beach Parkway. That is Back Beach Road right next to Florida Linen.
And there you go. And you can just type in your search bar, PCB Hobby, and it will take you wherever it is that you need to go. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Final segment of Monday coming up next.
Your attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Monday. For tonight, clear skies and a low of 73 with a calm wind. Tomorrow morning, sunshine with temps around 85. In the afternoon and evening, a mixture of light showers and mostly sunshine with a moderate breeze and a temperature near 87. Moving into Wednesday, about the same with a high of 84 and lightly raining. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable buildings.
Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. From Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge, we're live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
James is getting us ready for some football. It feels very, what does that feel, Monday Night Football-ish or Sunday Night Football-ish to you? No Carrie Underwood. So.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck here noticing that both Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus are going to be at Fanatics Fest.
Oh, maybe they will tag team.
I'm definitely in trouble.
Yeah, no doubt. You're going to have, Vic's going to be there? There you go, man. You're going to have a heck of a time. At least
Juju Watkins going to be there. That's cool.
Bernie Williams is going to be there, so at least 4 current Yankees and a former Yankee and Bernie Williams. Murray State right now on top of Ole Miss in the Oxford Regional, and Murray State up right now 4-0 in the top of the 3rd inning, and their bats have been working. What are you watching over there, James?
Wake Forest up 2-0 on the University of Tennessee, top of the 3rd.
So,
SEC.
Yeah.
SEC.
This is, it didn't
apparently it doesn't mean more.
It didn't really work out very well for them in the college football playoff this year. That's fair? Is that fair to say?
Well, you got to bring up old stuff.
I'm just bringing up the issues at hand here. It worked for sure in college softball, college basketball. But yeah, so far in college baseball, not working that way. But we'll see how it ends up all playing out. I'm David Hayes along with Coach Brian Haddad and James Fife. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. No Braves tonight, but they will be taking on the Diamondbacks tomorrow evening. Atlanta Braves baseball on ESPN Northwest Florida, sponsored locally by Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and Brock Pest Control. Our best and worst of the weekend. Just to make sure I get it in, my best is my brother and sister-in-law having baby Ruth, and then getting to take her home because she was in labor for 22 hours. They ended up having to do the C-section, and then they let them go home yesterday afternoon. So, really proud and excited for them. So that's my best. Obviously, the other best is the Pacers going to the finals. My worst, the Braves can't even win a daggum series with Ronald Acuna, and he's playing good baseball. He's hitting the ball extremely well, but it's not working out for him or for the Braves to this point. Hopefully they can finally turn a corner, or maybe the Braves are just bad this year. There's a whole bunch of other best and worst out there, but James, your best and worst of the weekend.
My best of the weekend was the Hilltoppers did not win a game, but I was just totally excited to see them in the tournament for the first time since I was there back in 2009. So quite happy just to have my bros there, man. I mean, you can't beat it. It's not really a known baseball school because they're just not a great baseball team. So anytime that they get there, I am excited. My worst.
You were on top of the hill, so to speak.
I was on top of the hill. My worst of the weekend is NHL. Talking to you right now, guys. Why are you making me wait 6 days for the cup?
Preach.
I don't want to wait 6 days. Both games are done. Why are we waiting from Thursday to next Wednesday to play, man? Play Monday night. Play tonight. It would have been great. Okay, I understand. Arenas and things like that might be busy over the weekend. You know what's not rented on a Monday night? An arena.
Yeah, there you go. I will also say, too, this is kind of a positive, is when I first looked at the Stanley Cup Finals today, I was like, well, why are they playing on Wednesday? I thought that's when the NBA Finals started. Like, don't start both of these on the same day, but the NBA Finals start on Thursday, the Stanley Cup Finals on Wednesday, but we should have two really good series, Pacers and the Thunder in the NBA, and then the Panthers and the Oilers in the NHL. Coach that is your worst. Coach had best and worst.
I would say my best. My worst, I mean, look, I could go down. We'll probably have it covered, and we've already talked about 1 and 2 going down. The SEC stinking over here. But Formula One, Max Verstappen, who is the best driver in the world, he had to let George Russell back by after an incident earlier, and as he was letting him back by, he kind of hit him. Looked awful deliberate to me. George Russell thinks so, too. And look, I get it. I mean, you say the same. Schumacher had his moments, too, back in the day. But to be that good and have so many kind of small, petty moments, I just think's a bad look on him. So, and he's done this before, so I don't like the look there, Max. But he didn't ask me. The best, this is kind of like an afternoon delight with Ryan, but there was this couple getting married. They're big wrestling fans, and they ended up during the, if anyone has any reason why these two, and they ended up hiring a guy to come in. He looks an awful lot like MJF, but they hire him to come in, cause a stir, takes his shirt off, he's yelling. They hit him with a chair, and then the bride and groom team up here to do a joint choke slam through a table of the guy right in the middle of their wedding service. So there it is. That's my best. People that... Look, weddings are great and all, but, I mean, a little levity like that's something that's pretty funny. So as a wrestling fan, I thought it was cool.
I think that's exactly...
Especially with the bride getting involved. That was great.
That's exactly what the best and worst of the weekend is supposed to be. You know, I don't care, my team did this or my team did that. Yeah, I want the nitty-gritty, though. Give me something really cool. And that... Brian, is really cool. All right, we'll go to some of the other ones that people posted as we have about 3 minutes right here. Jake Baxter, this is one near and dear to your heart. WWE releasing R-Truth is the worst for the year.
That one's bad.
Adam Goff.
That one's bad.
Yeah, I cannot believe that. Do you think that that's a play or...
No, it's real. I think they just looked at it as the guy. Look, R-Truth is ageless. He's 50 years old, and he's not a main event guy. They got the most they were going to get out of him doing the Saturday night's main event thing with Cena. I just think, and look, it wasn't that they did cut him; they just aren't renewing him. But yeah, it stinks because he's such a good locker room guy. That may hurt him in morale more than they realize, and it's hard to see that on a ledger sheet. So.
Yeah. There you go. Moving on to our next one, Adam Goff. Best, Louisville going undefeated in the Vandy Regional. Worst, Reds continue to struggle to score runs. Ryan Mulvey, best, Coastal and Auburn winning their regionals. They'll play each other, and that's his worst. Coastal and Auburn playing against each other in the Supers. Go Chance. Reed Garrett, best, Mississippi State got eliminated before the portal opened and announced the best head coaching hire that they've ever had. Worst.
Ooh, overrun Polk. That's tough, but that's a great hire. I agree.
Worst, Mississippi State got eliminated. Yeah. From Max DeLyden, best, Cubs dominating the month of May, and the SEC getting upset left and right in the college baseball tournament. Worst, the lull in the NHL playoffs prior to the Stanley Cup Finals. Coach Scott Thomas, best, Coastal winning the regional. Worst, too many review plays in postseason softball.
Yes.
And then last but not least, from Chef Ross, best, number 1 Brew Crew gets the sweep of the Phillies. Best, number 2 softball pitch that exploded the dirt clump in the World Series,
crazy.
Which was the Oregon pitcher, and then it got into the eyes of the catcher. Absolutely insane. Then the worst, number 1, John Brinkus dying, which was the guy who did sports science.
Yes.
Sadly, we're not in the month of May anymore, which was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but they did say that he lost his battle with depression. And then worst, number 2, WWE getting rid of R-Truth and Carlito.
Yeah, Carlito as well.
The Miz possibly in that as well?
I don't think they're going to do it with The Miz. He does a lot of their kind of ambassador and host and guest host. He's such a jack of all trades, they'll probably keep him around.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on this Monday afternoon. For James Fife, Coach Brian Haddad, I'm David Hayes. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Coach Hale's going to be live at 7 in the morning. And then the Inside Drive with not Ryan Mulvey, but James Fife coming up tomorrow at 11. We'll be back tomorrow at 4. Just remember, Jesus loves you, so do I. And
bring back the truth.
There you go. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
The ride home just got more dangerous. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your spot for the Afternoon Underdogs.
One of the